Hi, and thanks for listening. This is an introductory message to tell you all about my history channel, That History Guy, and give a brief outline of what I intend to do. My first series, broadcasting from June 2013, will be on Kent in the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic times. Some of you may find yourselves asking, well, what do those words mean? They're the names given to the three eras before the Bronze Age and Iron Age. In the simplest terms, they represent the period of history that most people consider to be the Stone Age. The earliest of these periods, stretching from round about 2.5 million years ago to some 15 to 10,000 years ago, is called the Paleolithic. The period is split into three eras. The Lower Stone Age is the period from about 2.5 million to 200,000 years ago. Modern humans, Homo sapiens, didn't yet exist at this point, though our ancestors Homo habilis, Homo ergaster, and Homo erectus, as well as others of the genus Homo, did. During this period, we see the first evidence of crude stone tools. The middle period of the Paleolithic was round about 200,000 to 45,000 years ago. This period saw both the evolution of the Neanderthals and our genus Homo sapiens. This period is also known for the development of more sophisticated stoneworking and an increase in hunting and gathering. Some suggest that ritualistic behaviour also began to flourish in this period. On a slightly non-historical note, quoting my archaeology professor, he says that when referring to ritualistic behaviour, sometimes historians are actually just putting things they don't know about into that bracket. It's something to be wary of. I wouldn't say that all things that go in the bracket of ritual are incorrectly labelled, but basically, when referring to ritual, sometimes when it comes to pre-Bronze Age, pre-Iron Age stuff, they actually mean they don't know. The later Paleolithic is the period that most people associate with when thinking about the Stone Age, the period from about 45,000 years ago to 15 to 10,000 years ago. It's characterized by cave painting, a lot more sophisticated tool making in stone, and there is also some evidence of tool making out of bone and ivory as well. There are some very nice examples of cave painting from some caves in France, I believe. Paleolithic activity in Kent is known to date back roughly to 100,000 years ago, although some say there is older activity. I will be going up to the Natural History Museum at some point because they have something there called the Swanscombe Man, which is remains. I'm not sure which genus of Homo it is, but they say they date back to around about 400,000 years ago. It's been suggested, though, there are a lot of hand axes found in North Kent at least. There are some further afield, but there's a lot in North Kent because there are stone quarries there, Paleolithic quarries. And I shall be making videos of them in my first series. They're known to date back roughly to 100,000 years ago, maybe older, but 100,000 years ago seems to be around about the right date. The Mesolithic is the middle period between the end of the Paleolithic, some 15 to 10,000 years ago, and the beginning of the Neolithic period, sometime between 7,000 and 5,000 years ago, depending on which scholars you go to. This period saw the end of the Ice Age, new flora and fauna emerged, and some animals, such as mammoths, died out, whilst others, such as reindeer, changed their migration habits. So new food sources were cultivated, such as hazels, nettles, and in coastal areas, marine animals, fish, and shellfish were cultivated as well. In some areas, small amounts of pottery have been found dating towards the end of the Mesolithic. In some areas as well, monoliths or megaliths start to be raised. In Portugal and in northern France are some megaliths apparently dating back to around 5000 BCE. There is one Kentish Mesolithic site that is known about called High Rock. This is in West Kent. The area itself is an area of rock basically some millions of years old, but there were supposedly Mesolithic structures found there of some variety. I shall try and make a video on them if I can find them. The Neolithic period, begins with the birth of real agricultural society and even higher quality tools. They were made out of polished stone. These were really, really cherished, beautiful items. Tribal society became more prominent during this period, and although there was still a lot of mobility in terms of geographic location, family or tribal groups tended to be more fixed by this point. There was social structure and hierarchy. There was a growth of pottery use, and there were higher quality tools as well. This marks a change from earlier times and shows a definite shift from hunter-gatherer society to a more agricultural way of life. A key feature of this period was the building of megaliths or monoliths. As I said previously, there were some found at the end of the Mesolithic period, but the Neolithic is the main time for these up until the Iron Age. You probably know the ones such as those at Avebury and Stonehenge, but you are less likely to have heard about the ones in Kent. They're not as grand, they're not a solar calendar like at Stonehenge, and they're not as big as Avebury, but there are Neolithic barrow tombs made out of sarsen stone, as well as some carved rocks. There's the Whitehorse stone. Kit's Coty is probably the remains of a barrow as well. There is a lot of widespread Neolithic activity in Kent. There are many more hand axes from this period. There are barrows, there are ring ditches, and the occasional Neolithic settlement. As I said, the crowning jewel in our Neolithic heritage is what is known as the Medway megaliths, which I will be talking about in some of my upcoming videos. I will also post directions to them. They are amazing. They're like hidden in the Kent landscape in this one area of Medway. I will post directions so that if you want to go and see them firsthand, you can do. There isn't a lot of press about them, or there hasn't been in some years. So, as I say, I will post directions to them with the videos so that you can find them as well, because they are worth a visit. During my filming for this first series, I will also be going to Kent museums. I will be looking at some long barrows in the east of Kent as well, because there are some still remaining there. They're just not as grand as the ones in the Medway Valley. So yeah, that's my first series. I will hopefully, if there is interest in my videos, be going on to make more series. I will be doing them in chronological order, but I will also be doing episodes for each town individually. I'm obviously in places like Canterbury, where there's a lot of history and a lot of different layers of history. I will probably be making more than one video, and I hope you enjoy them. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoy the videos that are to come. I will try and make them as detailed and interesting as I can. Not sure how long they'll be. I'll try and make them in, say, half-hour to hour slots. Thank you very much again. Have a good day.